Hi everybody, I hope that you are all doing well, staying healthy, and that you had a good week last week. I want to apologize if my feedback and responses weren't as quick to you as they have been in the past. This past week was a pretty busy week. I had to do my dissertation proposal defense, which is a pretty big deal, and the good news is that I passed, so that part's done, and now I can move on and start my research for my doctorate. Anyway, so let's look at some information. So first, before we talk about assignments for this week, I want to review some information because there are some things that kids are still confused about with Google Classroom and grades and how all of this stuff is going to work. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the grading policy. So I know that the district sent out this updated grading policy, and it seems to be causing confusion for a lot of kids and that they think they no longer have to do anything. And that's not actually true. So you're still expected and required to do the assignments that are being given to you. And it's also really important for you guys to understand that you're not receiving the same amount of work right now that you would have in the classroom, that teachers have really scaled back and are trying to be as understanding as possible and as flexible as possible. So just because T3 is now pass-fail doesn't mean you're done with school and you don't have to do anything else. So it is important that you continue to check in with your Google Classroom and that you continue to do your assignments. And if you are struggling or something is too difficult, then you need to reach out to your teachers and let them know that you need more time or that you're behind or you don't understand, because that's our job. We're here to help you. The next thing I want to talk about is submitting work. There's a handful of students who keep just hitting submit on blank documents and that they haven't actually typed any of their ideas in the document. That doesn't count as you doing your work. So you need to make sure that if a teacher has attached a document that you're expected to fill out, that you're actually doing the work before you hit submit. The other thing that keeps coming up is the idea of work being returned to you. So I know that when I assign you my weekly check-in question, if you've done it, then I put it in PowerSchool and then I hit the return button and it goes back to you. And it's been returned to you because it's done. Because in my PowerSchool, I see students who submitted stuff, students who didn't submit stuff, and students who I've returned it to because it's done. So if I'm returning things like the quizzes to you or the check-in question, that's because you submitted it, it's done, and it's now in PowerSchool. If I'm returning other assignments to you, like your summary or your book outline, I'm always putting some sort of a comment to let you know, is this done and it's in PowerSchool, or do you need to keep working on this and giving you feedback? That also leads me to the next thing. I've gotten a few emails from kids saying that they're waiting for feedback. One of two things is happening. They're waiting for feedback because they never hit the submit button, so it never came to me, so I don't know. So just putting it in a doc doesn't tell me it's done. And there's absolutely no way that I could check all of the documents all of the time. That would be insane and such a waste of my time. So if you don't hit the submit button, I don't get it. The other thing that I've realized that I didn't know before this week was if you're doing an assignment that isn't late yet, it doesn't let me know that you submitted it. So for example, this past week, a lot of you were working on your book outlines because you're ahead of the game. So you were on step 3 and people were submitting them to me. But if they didn't put a comment, it didn't tell me. So I didn't know that you had submitted that work. So I had to keep going and checking in the Google Classroom and seeing who submitted. So if it's before something is due and you're submitting something you need feedback, please put a personal comment in there. That way it alerts me and I know I have to check it. Otherwise, it might take me longer until I take a minute and click on every assignment to see who's done what, which takes a lot of time. So if you are looking for feedback quickly, add in a comment instead of just waiting for me to sit there. The next thing that we're going to talk about is due dates in this upcoming week. So our due dates. So every week, we have our check-in. It's one question. It's due by Wednesday the 20th this week. And when I don't hear from you guys by Wednesday, that's when you're starting to get marked as absent. So that's why I have it as Wednesday. I always post that question by Friday night, so you have plenty of time to do it and it literally takes 2 seconds to do. So please make sure that you're always doing the check-in question and you're doing it by Wednesday. Then I don't have to harass you through email and other things. The quizzes, so we're gonna go back to doing quizzes this week. That's gonna be due by Friday for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're an A day or a B day kid. And again, if you don't do it by Friday, that's when I start emailing you about it. If for any reason there is anybody who has not done that course selection sheet yet, it is extremely important that you get your butt on the Google Classroom and you do it right now. That course selection sheet determines what pathway you have and what electives you have, not just for next year, but for your junior and your senior year as well. So it's very important you get that done. Otherwise, what happens is guidance is going to put you in wherever there's room, and it might not be something that you want to take. Even if you think there's the slightest chance that you won't be returning to Metro next year, fill it out. You want to be safe rather than coming back and then being in classes you don't want to be in. All right, the last assignment that we need to talk about is the book. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about this because I still haven't seen step 2 from more than half of you that have either done it at all or that it's been approved. So it's really, really important that that summary, which was step 2, gets done, because otherwise, what the heck are you writing a book about? So once step 2 is done, then step 3, that's where you're doing breakdown page by page, exactly what's going to be in your book. For my A-Day students, that's due on Tuesday the 19th, and for my B-Day students, that's due on Wednesday the 20th. The reason for this is that gives you 3 more weeks until the final book is due. It's really hard to play catch up when you blow off the assignments and then it's due that day and you're trying to catch up. So I really want you to focus on this book outline because the major tasks still matter. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And if you have questions about your other classes, please reach out to those teachers. We're doing our best to be responsive, to be flexible, and to be helpful. So we're here if you need us. Have a good week.